How you doing? My name is Houston and welcome back to another video. Happy to have you here. You know, I'm gonna be honest. When I went to go make coffee, I just half expected the game to crash because I start it, go make the coffee, and then come back. And this game just crashes sitting at the main menu. So what are you gonna do? But hey, still up. I'm sure it'll crash at some point during this video, but we're gonna deal with that when we come to it. Been a hell of a week at work, weather-wise, work-wise, just so much insanity. That's why there hasn't been a video earlier this week, like midweek or last week. There's just so many things that we had to do at work that had to do with like utility shutdowns and tie-ins and all that. But yeah, you get it. Anyway, we're back here on Modern Warfare 3. I have 8 guns gold. Honestly, it's pretty pathetic. I'm not like mad at it or anything, but I thought that maybe I had like 15. I was saying that yesterday during my stream. Somebody's like, oh, how many do you have? I was like, well, I haven't played much, but I probably have like at least 15. No, dude. I got ARs done. I have like 1 marksman rifle done and then 1 battle rifle done. The good thing is that I do have a lot of guns leveled up. I think pretty much every gun leveled up at this point, except snipers. So apart from like, obviously just leveling those up and maybe doing a few levels here or there on other weapons. Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't make for short work, but it should make for work that's, you know, just challenge based. Most of the hard work is done, in my opinion, and I'm not playing a state. Isn't this skin cool? I don't know if I said that in the last video, but like, I love it. Anything that has to do with like Greek or Roman or like that kind of armor style, I love it so much, which is actually a perfect segue into the game that I've been playing now, or I guess haven't been playing, but the game that I started a couple days ago, because I finished Blasphemous. Really good. I wrote my review for it, by the way. It's on Backlogged. I'll throw that link in the description if you want to read it. You should make a Backlogged account too. It's really cool. It allows you to like track all the games that you've played. You know, if you're not just a Call of Duty player, I think it's really cool. You know, you could go on there and rate and write reviews for your favorite Call of Duty games too. I actually think that would be really interesting to like go on a deep dive for each story and especially the multiplayer gameplay for each one. You don't have to write reviews for all the games that you review, but I do think that it would be cool to be able to have every single Call of Duty game that you've played, or maybe like some other FPS franchise that you enjoy, like maybe every Halo game, be able to look at all of them in one big group and see how they stack up like rating wise, because then it would force you to think about them more, you know, think about them in comparison to the other ones, because I feel like when you're thinking about them in abstract, it's easier to be like, oh yeah, well this game's like a 3-star or a 4-star. So yeah, I finished Blasphemous, and the game that I'm playing now, and I'm surprised I haven't played yet. Actually, you know, when I think about the gameplay, I'm not really surprised that I haven't played it yet, but it's Hades, and dude, it's really cool. I had to ask some of my friends like, okay, what kind of game is this? And apparently it's a roguelite, not a roguelike, but a roguelite. A difference when you think about the abilities that you get and like how often you actually have to restart the game. The definition that I got from them, which I will give to you, is that a roguelike is a game where you go through these various dungeons or encounters, I think is the proper word for it. And as you go through each one, you level up and you gain abilities, but if you die, you start all the way back at the beginning. And the thing that makes a roguelite different than a roguelike is the fact that with Hades, for instance, you have abilities that you lose when you die throughout the encounters, but there are certain abilities that, using the currency that you gain throughout the encounters, you can like basically get permanent abilities. So those permanent abilities will be like, oh, you do 10% more damage when you attack enemies from the back, or you have a little bit more health to start out with. But then the abilities in the encounters that you get from encounter to encounter are things like the fucking Wrath of Zeus or help from Poseidon, or you know, so you got all of these gods. You have the whole like Greek pantheon of gods and goddesses. Again, that's why I brought it up, because I think that this skin in this game is really cool, and then that game, Hades, just really taps into my love for like that section of history. I feel like we need more games that really dive into the Greek or Roman gods and like their powers and all that. I mean, there was this game that I used to play and I was obsessed with it on GameCube, and it was called Rome Total War. If you played it, you know, you start out as like this slave type person, and you're fighting in all these battles and alongside all these figures in history. Like I think like Achilles is in it. Achilles is in Hades as well, so that's why it's at the top of my head. But then you also fight against the gods. So I think at one point you fight Hades. You end up getting different weapons. Like at one point you get like the twin blades of Athena, and like your special ability is like putting the blades together in a cross above your head, and it's like a bunch of lightning that comes out. I feel like that game was the first piece of like legit media that I obsessed over that made me love that era of history so much. Hades is really cool too. Like right off the bat, dude, the art style, like the character design, the level design, all that art team went insane on that game, and it makes me want to buy the art book. There's also a sequel coming out, and that's part of the reason why I really wanted to play it. It is tough though. Like I didn't expect it to be as difficult as it is, especially with me not having any exposure to roguelike games. But it's a fun challenge because a lot of it is like RNG based as well. So you'll go in and the first ability you get at random, and you know, it could be a power from Zeus, it could be Dionysus, and obviously some abilities are better than others because some gods just, you know, have better abilities. Would you rather have Zeus's lightning, Poseidon's wave? Do you want Aphrodite's love? I mean, I take Aphrodite's love. I don't know about you. Even though I've always loved single player games, I never really imagined that I would be getting into so many different games this year or just recently. Playing the Metroidvanias, playing Hades, I just never really thought that I would enjoy those types of games. But I think part of the reason is because I've talked to a certain group of people recently, and those guys just love all different types of games, and they have a deep appreciation for games that I've never really heard of or was ever exposed to. And I feel like it's a really good example of how easily you can silo yourself if you never expose yourself to things that you're unfamiliar with. There are so many things out in the world that could be your next favorite thing, and you just have no idea. You don't know what you don't know. And it's so fucking cool, man. One of my favorite examples of that is Jujutsu Kaisen, because one of my friends who I never expected to recommend me an anime because he's just never really that guy, never was that guy. He told me one day when it was like 2 or 3 episodes into season 1, hey man, you should really check out this anime called Jujutsu Kaisen. And I'm like, okay, is it like a fighting anime or something like that? And he goes, no man, it's like they're like curse users and curses, and there's like a fighting panda, and and I'm like, all right, that sounds interesting. When it comes down to it though, I mean, I'm a sucker for a good shonen. You know, you have a younger character who's just trying to get stronger. You have a power like curses or things like that they need to overcome. So I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? And obviously that's a very like stripped down description of the show, now that I love it so much. Yeah, little did I know that that series, especially the manga and the mangaka and it's like art and all that, would become, I mean, one of my favorite series I've ever watched, like up there with One Piece, Naruto, and many other shows. But the themes in the show run so deep, and especially right off the back of season 2 and the whole Shibuya arc, and the incredible job that all those animators did working on it to give us just some of the best animated scenes, not only of the year, of last year, but just in general. You look at that series and you're like, dude, how can they even get better than this? And then right now in the manga, we're coming off the back end of a 3-week break after a pretty insane chapter. I mean, every chapter is pretty much insane. But yeah, it's just so cool. And all of this to say that I was discounting it at first. I was like, dude, there's no way that I'm gonna like that. Like it just sounds kind of dumb. But the only reason that I watched it, even though I was like, yeah, it sounds dumb, is because I was like, okay, well, I don't really have anything else to watch. And I always do this thing, or at least I did do this thing when I was single, where I'd get home from work, and if I wanted to just chill out for the night, didn't really want to like actively game or anything like that, I would just make my dinner and I would sit at my desk and I'd watch anime. I don't remember what I had finished watching at the time, but it was at a point where I was like, okay, I need a new series. And yeah, like I said, you know, it just ended up being that series that just really, really struck a deep chord in me. So don't be afraid to try that thing, even if it sounds kind of dumb to you. You never know. You might end up loving it. might end up obsessing over it, or you might end up hating it, but that's okay. At least you gave it a shot, right? Yeah, dude, I went on a run this morning, and honestly, it was fine for the most part. I was wearing Uniqlo Heat Tech, their extra warm stuff. It's amazing, man. Uniqlo is brilliant. I love their clothes so much. There's literally something out there for every single situation, every single style. It's the best. There was a point though, like 3 miles into my run, where I blinked and I feel like my cornea like froze over or something, because there was wind chill as well as it just being cold. I don't know how possible it is for this to happen, but it just seems like maybe the tears in my eyes kind of like froze over like for a moment, because I wasn't blinking when I was running. Because what happened was I started to see this like flare in my vision, and I was like, oh, okay, that's weird. That's never happened before. Because like normally my eyes are just, I mean, they're fine. Honestly, this is gonna sound so fucking stupid, so I'm sorry, but it looked like the Among Us character. And I know that sounds really, really dumb, but it's the only thing that I can think of that was close to the shape. It was a flare that was kind of like rounded at the top and then had 2 legs almost at the bottom. And then it was dark in the middle, like their like spacesuit mask. It was really weird because I've never had problems with my eyes before. So I'm sitting there and I close my eyes and it's just completely black, obviously, but all I can see is the highlighted outline of this shape. Obviously, the first thing I do is start catastrophizing. I'm like, okay, is there something really, really wrong with my eyes? Like, what the fuck's going on? Am I overexerting myself? Does it have something to do with like the heat in my body and the cold temperatures in the, you know, environment? No, of course that's not right. I think that maybe, again, like I said, I kind of thought for another second and I was like, okay, well, maybe the tears in my eyes froze and it's just a weird sensation. So my eyes are like, hey man, there might be something wrong here. So we're just gonna throw this up in your vision to, I don't know. Who knows why the body does half the shit it does to adapt. But yeah, so I'm like, okay, well, if there is something wrong with me, I should get home as fast as possible. So I just kept running. Other than that though, yeah, it was a good run. I kind of have this little like injury on the top of my foot above my big toe. It's because my younger brother at work, we've been installing a lot of water line, and it was a 12-inch kit that's used to attach a fitting on a water line, like a pipe. It's pretty heavy. It's probably like 15 or 20 pounds. We're unloading 20 of them, and on the second to last one, he's getting all lazy, like passing them to me, and before I can grab it, he drops it and it falls right on the top of my foot. Not a very good feeling, I gotta say. It was pretty bruised the second day, but it's since got a lot better, and the mobility's fine with it. Like, definitely not broken or fractured or anything like that. It's just something that didn't have to happen, and it did because he got lazy when he was handing it to me. So my run was only about 5 miles, but it was mostly just to test the waters because I might go on a longer run tomorrow. I don't know. It'll depend on how sore I am tomorrow, because I ran today, did leg day 2 days ago. It was a pretty gnarly leg day, so I might be out for the count on that one. Yeah, run was good. I cannot stress enough how useful my Craft, it's a brand, C-R-A-F-T gloves have been for me running outside and just being outside in general, especially at work. If I don't have to use my hands, sorry, they're not gloves, they're mittens, so all my fingers can stay together. I got the crab hands. Yeah, those things have been so crucial for me in super low temperatures, because we're in a bit of a cold snap right now. It's been like 18 degrees for the past couple days, or actually even lower. I think when I was at work on Friday, it was like 12 degrees, and then there was a wind chill, so I think it was probably like 5 degrees or something like that. It was rough. Like, even the most simple and menial tasks felt like you were Sisyphus pushing the boulder up the mountain. Oh, one more thing, I am also 2 weeks sober today. I didn't drink on New Year's, and I have not drank this weekend or last weekend. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm excited to keep this journey going. It's probably going to be a tough one at events. I mean, if I could refuse doing it on New Year's and still have a really great time, I think I can probably do it at birthday parties, weddings, etc. I hope that there's something since my last video that you have found that you really want to go all in on this year. Or maybe just, you know, it doesn't have to be something new. Maybe just tripling down on that thing that you've been thinking about for a long time. Things don't have to be complex. A lot of these things are so simple, but they are difficult. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for the love on, videos. I gotta get back to making short form content too. I don't know. I might try and make some running content or just fitness related content. Nothing crazy, but I think I'll be able to feel that out if I make the video. I don't want to overthink it. If I end up doing that, that'll be cool. And I hope you watch it. Hope you enjoy it. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I appreciate you again, and see you on the next one.